Yo, what up, guys? Beside here with a champion guide for Mausoleum Mage, a epic champion you can find from the Undead Hordes faction. He's right here and he's been around in this game for a while. In this video, I'm going to show him 2 ways you can still use this champion, whether early game or late game in 2023. So follow along, let's go. I also recommend some other ways you can use him besides those 2 builds. Yes, I'll show a beginner build and an end game build, 2 different builds on this video. So what does this champion do? First of all, for his character design, he's an exact photocopy of Gogorab. I don't know if he copied Gogorab or Gogorab copied him, but that was way back then when the Raid graphic design team were not putting too much effort into designing and a brand new character for each champion. They used to just duplicate it and he looks exactly, that's why he looks exactly like this dude. Almost the same animations, I think so. All right, so what does this champion do in Raid? He's best known for one of the roles he's best known for is the job of a cleanser. So you find yourself against some bosses that when the battle just starts, they just put a bunch of debuffs on you. Even enemies from PvP arena, they just put stun, they put freeze, they put whatever they want to put on you at the beginning of the battle. And if you don't cleanse that stun, those debuff you have on yourself, or decrease defense and weaken, you take so much damage or you'll not be able to move. So he comes in there as one of those champions who can try not to get debuffed, I mean CC'd, control or whatever, and then cleanse all your other allies, cleanse all their debuff from them. So that's what this skill does, and I'm going to show you one content where I use him in the end game still today for that job of a cleanser. So that's what it does. It doesn't just cleanse all the debuff from your allies, also he heals them by 10% of his max HP. This quote right here, his max HP, is the qualities you want to look out for a good healer in Raid. That means if he has 100k HP, 10% is 10k. So he's gonna heal your allies by 10% of his max HP. Then when you consider all the bonus HP you're gonna add from the Masteries, it will even be even more than 10k heal that this champion can do per time he uses this skill right here. So whether he removes debuffs or not from them, he will heal them. So that's something to take note of. So you don't have to wait for them to have debuffs before you use this skill. But if he removes debuffs from the allies, right, from your allies, he heals ally by a further 10% if 1 or more debuffs is removed. Fills ally stun meter by 15% for 2 or more debuffs removed. So somebody might get a 20% heal. That's what I'm saying. So he removes 2 debuffs from them, they even get a stun meter fill. This part of the skill is why you shouldn't use this champion for content like the clan boss or somewhere where somebody doesn't get a debuff, then you heal everybody else that gets 2 tons. Well, I guess you can still use him in the clan boss. Some people use him in that content, but I wouldn't recommend this champion to be used in the clan boss in 2023 because his role is just one right there. This placing this block debuff buff right here. So block debuff buff, it's not for 2 tons. That's why I say it's not recommended for using the clan boss. But hey, if you have no other options, you can use him for that early game clan boss when you're trying to get to brutal or nightmare stages. But you'll not find this champion being used in ultra nightmare stages at all. Even if you have somebody extending the duration of those block debuff buff, it's not recommended you use this champion for the clan boss. That's one content I would not recommend anybody uses him. So because his build also doesn't in line with the clan boss, because he's built slow for the clan boss, right? But for every other content you need him super fast. So that's the 2 skills that he brings to the team. But check out, this skill doesn't just place block debuff buff, it also has increased crit rate and increased defense. This is one of the reasons why you see me pairing this champion with a seer, or most endgame players or beginner players who get him will pair him with a seer, because she needs to take down a lot of buffs, right? And he is one of the few champions in Raid Shadow Legends that places 3 buffs on all your allies. So that's something to take note. Not just a cleanser, but a champion who can place 3 entire buffs on your allies. Increased defense is essential for the clan boss. I guess that's why some people bring him in there also. And that increased defense is for 2 tons. My question is, why can't the block debuff buff also be for 2 tons? That would have made him a beast in the clan boss like Selpoka Sentinel is. Increased crit rate, it doesn't mean that you should build your champions with less crit rate, because sometimes he will not be in your team. This is just an additional boost for you, I guess. So those are the 2 things he's best known for in Raid, and you should think about, where am I going to use this champion? Do I want him as a cleanser who just takes off the debuff that the enemy places on me, or do I want him as cleanser and healer is one role, and then do I want him as somebody who just places a bunch of buffs on me that my allies will stay alive longer, or my seer will strip. So those are the two things you should consider when thinking about using Mausoleum Mage: cleanser, healer versus buffer and survivor champion. This heal is on a 4-turn cooldown, so he shouldn't be your main source of healing. So you might still need an apothecary, you might still need a what's her name now, Seal the Drake. You know, you still need your normal healers in the team. Rector Drat, he's not like a dedicated healer because it's on a 4-turn. Imagine waiting an entire 4 turns before this heal comes around again. Your champions might have died after he just healed them to full HP. So he's not reliable as a only source of healing in some teams, except you're making super fast and lap the enemies. So that's something to consider. What about his A1? His A1 places decrease speed. People don't build this champion with accuracy. You just saw his first A2, you just saw his A3. None of those two things need accuracy. So why would you build accuracy on a champion just because of the A1? Because he needs slow speed. Put somebody else in there, somebody like a Terrell, or I mean, okay, that's not Terrell. Somebody else who plays decrease speed on the A1. I forgot his name. So Stagnite, that's what I'm thinking of. So putting somebody like that who you know he benefits with his A2 and the other skills for the accuracy, not just A1 accuracy requirement. So I will not be building my Mausoleum Mage with accuracy at all, because despite how important decrease speed is on the enemies, it's a 50% chance. Check out, when booked, is a 50% chance. It's not like it's going to be a 75% or something. So you have other champions to rely on for decrease speed on the enemies, and it's not an AoE decrease speed, it's a single target decrease speed, which means its usage is limited to certain areas, certain bosses. So that's why accuracy is not required on this champion. All right, now that we've talked about his skills a little bit to create a little bit more understanding, you see that this champion is not a damage dealing champion. His A2 does not hit the enemies. His A3 does not hit the enemies. It's only his A1 that hits the enemies. So most people who use this champion for general content, for dungeons and all that, will not be choosing damage stats on him. You need him with high HP because of that quote that says he will heal allies based on his max HP. That's your number one priority on this champion: speed and HP. Speed and HP. I can't stress this enough. Now, which set can you achieve this in the early game? That's what you're looking at right now on the screen. This is my early game build that I use on Mausoleum Mage when I was trying to use him in Faction Wars. He's an MVP in Faction Wars because he goes along with Gogora right there in that same faction, and they kept my team alive. Yes, even if that boss kind of hits maximum HP and it kind of ignores defense and all that stuff, he was one of the few champions with Gogorab help that could heal and revive and all that for that undead Hot Faction 21. I have a dedicated video about how I beat that boss. So that's the build right here. You can see most of my gear is not even at full max because the boss kind of ignores defense. So I didn't feel it was necessary for me to even stack more defense on that. That's why I didn't even bother maxing it up. So what I'm trying to say is, for the early game, triple speed set is fine for Mausoleum Mage. Not triple perception set, because then you'll be getting accuracy, which you do not need. Triple speed set, and you can see his HP on the chest, I hope, and HP on the I have defense over here, but as much HP as you can. I think I have HP more defense. Why am I stacking so much defense? And HP over here. So no accuracy banner. That's what I'm trying to say. I was able to get up to 3k defense even if HP is what I was looking for. This is a very, very old build, and I didn't want to change it before I show you the end game build. So this is the beginner level build. Triple speed set on your Mausoleum Mage. Speed boots as always to get to that speed requirement, and this triple speed set is giving me up to 270 speed. Remember, this is not the fastest speed gear I have. Your Arbiter and others should always have your fastest speed gear. He comes in and gets those spare speed gear you have that have 1 roll or 2 rolls of speed on them. That's what can get him up to this amount, right? Eventually, if you can max up Faction Guardians and all that good stuff. I'm getting a little bit of bonus from Masteries and also from Faction Guardians. All right, 270 speed priority, then HP anything above 50k will do. If you are too early, maybe 40k, but you're trying to get to 60-70k if you can't get it on Mausoleum Mage, so that when he heals, everybody goes back to full HP. So resistance, depending on the content you use this champion for. If you're going to use this champion in the PvP content, talking about those areas where you put a bunch of resistance on him and somebody comes in there, places decrease defense, places stun and all that for your enemies, and he cleanses it. The problem is a champion like, what's her name now, Mitrala Life Bane has taken over that role, because she has high resistance and you can just place debuff and she'll just cleanse it because she is hard to get debuffed. So that's an example of what I'm saying. Legendaries has taken over his role. Python in Stone Skin has taken over the role of this champion in PvP. So you no longer see Mausoleum Mage being used in PvP content or even in PvE. So that's the early game build that I put on this champion. And if I show you the masteries, you can see that it's not done. At least for early game, you want to get at least this first one. He does benefit a lot from getting this max HP one, this one that increases the value of the shield, the value of the heals that he gives to your allies, and of course maybe this one that increases the amount of healing and value of shield buff placed by this champion by 10% if the ally has 40% or less HP. So that's the three that is most crucial for this champion. Now, depending on how you build this champion for high resistance for PvP content or for Doom Tower content, you might want to go on Shakeable right here for more resistance, or you go all the way down here for healers and revivers in grade. Generally always go down to this timely intervention to, when somebody goes a little bit low, they just get a lot of turn meter boosting so they can heal a lot faster. So that's the two that is recommended. Now, if you use the champion as a damage dealer for his A1 for clan boss, maybe you want to take the offense 3, but usually you see Mausoleum Mage being built with the defense and support 3 mastery for early game and end game. I don't intend to complete this champion's mastery. This is one of those champions that works without masteries, but like I said, that support 3-1 for HP and healing will help him. And for the defense 3, these ones I selected also increase the amount of healing for himself. He also needs to heal himself, right? So he gets that one and takes reduced damage from this one, right, when he's hit with critical hit. So that's the ones that I recommend for those early game content. All right, let's test this champion in some. No, I've not talked about his blessing, right? He does have healing, so a lot of people you see him being used with this one, survival instinct, partially fills this champion turn meter whenever a debuff is placed, spread or transferred onto them. So this is something that could help him get more turns faster. I've also seen this one being recommended, chain breaker being recommended, so he can, at the start of this turn, he can remove any of these debuffs on him and then get a turn. So if you're using this champion for the purpose of a healing where his max HP is being destroyed, maybe where is this one that has to do with healing? Miracle Heal might be a good one for something like the Hydra or some other content where your max HP is being destroyed, or even the Necropolis, Sand Devil Necropolis, where max HP is being destroyed and a healer is needed to restore it. So that's some masteries, some blessings you can put on him. All right, so that's my early game for Mausoleum Mage. For an early game content that I'll test out just for this video is the dragon. Let me just do a single battle from that dragon, 20, not with this end game team, but an early game team that I put together to showcase an early game Mausoleum Mage. So out of everybody in this team right here, I'm particularly sure will do some healing, but he is the one I'm relying on to help me survive a little bit longer. I do not have a revive, but let's see how the team does. I might not run it all the way to the end. I just want to see how they can handle the first wave at least. Hopefully my ATL does not stun these enemies. So that's the buff. You see how many buffs he just placed on us? Damn, that's a lot of buffs. That's a lot of buffs coming in right here for Mausoleum Mage, but it's off now. So maybe you want him not to start the battle with these buffs. He plays the buff again. Is he lapping these enemies? It happened so fast. I thought the skill went on cooldown, but it happened again. Apothecary did help to keep me alive. See, buffing again. So basically, he's getting around to his turns so fast. I think I'm lapping these enemies by 3 turns. That's why it's happening so fast. See, he does use this A1 right now. He has not done he has buffed himself. I'm looking for that A2. When is he gonna do is it the A3 that does the healing? He's used this A1 again. So sometimes if somebody doesn't go low or somebody doesn't have a debuff on them, he doesn't see. He used it now. 8,700. That's what I was looking for to keep my ATL alive over there. so we don't go down so fast. He has buffed himself again. I keep thinking there's somebody else in this team doing the buff, but he's the only person placing all this buff on us besides the increased speed that Apothecary is placing. More buffs again. It's crazy. I know this is against Dragon 20. That is why he's taking so many turns, because he's closer to 270 speed. That means he's almost lapping them by 3 turns. So with this champion in your team, healing, even if I didn't have an Apothecary, depending on the enemy and how squishy your allies are, determine whether you can take it down or not. I don't want to watch all this battle all the way to the end. I just want to show you that he keeps your allies alive with those buffs he places on them, with the heals and the cleanse. We didn't get the buff this time, so there was not much to cleanse. All right, now that we've shown some early game content for this champion, the way I used him in faction wars, this build you saw was originally for faction war that I used him in the undead faction. So let me now switch him over to an end game content build where you see him, how I'm gonna use him in the end game right now. So be right back with my new build. All right, I'm back with my end game build for Mausoleum Mage. What do I mean end game? I mean where am I gonna use him right now in my account at this level of my game where I've been playing for 3 years is in a shield set, because his role in this end game for my account is just to be a buffer for Seer. That's it. So if you do not own a Seer, do not look at this build and copy it. This is purely a build that he's just there in the team just to assist Seer put 4 buffs on our allies. So that's the only reason why he'll be put in a shield set. Of course, he's an HP champion who benefits from HP in terms of the healing, so most people will say okay, put him on HP, but shield set really doesn't boost up your HP as much as immortal set might do. So that's something to consider. Speed, immortal, and for different people, but this is my own end game build specifically for helping Seer place buffs. So if you do not know what I'm talking about, I'll take him into the battle straight up. No masteries was changed, everything is still the same. He's not there for damage, he's there to buff. So if I use that same Dragon 20 team as an example, and by this time I put in this Mausoleum Mage team right here that I put together, well, I don't know what this champion is doing right here, but this was a Fire Knight team. I'll just select this team. I'm just selecting this one because of these 2 champions. Well, if I want to make it even more interesting, like this. So how about this? Since it's Dragon 20, so to show you the amount of damage that comes in with just this amount of buff that this champion will be adding to the game, and I'll put it on slow 1 speed so we see the action happen live. So we are starting the battle with shields. That's the whole purpose why I put him in this set. And if how many? 4. Well, I should have brought in a little bit more. I don't think 8 is enough to take them down, but let's try. If 8 is not enough, I have to add more people. That is obviously not enough, but that's the amount of damage that can be done with 4 buffs. Now let me bring in the rest of the team. Still a beginner friendly team, I guess. Normally you want somebody who is gonna be a reviver. Let me bring in the rest of the gang. I'm just trying to make it beginner friendly, not just bringing a bunch of nukers here. You always need a poisoner, right? That's our default poisoner. And of course, we have a reviver, speed booster, apothecary, maybe. Is there anybody else bringing shield sets? This guy already has shield sets. I don't need 2 people with shield sets. Why not apothecary? All right, let's go again and see how many buffs we place this time around. I just want to test the damage numbers that is made possible by Mausoleum Mage adding buffs. So Apothecary has added 1 more buff to us. It doesn't matter what this champion is doing. I'm putting it in slow speed. Oh, we even have 1 more buff again. We'll have excess buff. I really wanted Mausoleum Mage to be the champion that does it, but now he's just adding to the amount of buff we have here. This is overkill. You usually just need 4 buffs from Mausoleum Mage on everybody else. I didn't mean to bring in a champion that. So that's why he's in the team. To not just place his own 3 buffs, but this shield set is a 4th buff. And with 4 buffs, I'll try it again. Okay, I don't have somebody to reset my skills. Everything is on cooldown. Let me try it again with nobody else buffing. And let's just try it again, just to make sure that Mausoleum Mage can take it down with 4 buffs. I'm not going to use Apothecary's buff. I'm not going to use anybody else's buff. I just want Mausoleum Mage to do. I'm not even going to use the increased attack buff. and just this one. So that's my aim of putting him in a shield set, so I can have 4 buffs like this that Seer can do this too. Oh, they still survive. Well, maybe you need 5 buffs, or I need to improve my Seer build. But that's the whole purpose of him being in the shield set. Now, normally I would not just bring Mausoleum Mage and Seer and call it a day. For end game content, I'm talking about Dragon hard 10 content, right? Or even Fire Knight and all those other difficult content for hard content like this. This is the team I use. Not this team. This team. So he is not in this team, but if I add him to this team, he'll be doing more work than maybe a Helicat that I put in the leader slot. His buffs will be more than enough to take down, but I'm putting Helicat here because of the boss. You don't just focus on the wave and bring in squishy champions. You have to bring in somebody for the boss too. So that's the reason why he's not in this team. But now that he has shield set in the end game, I think I can use him even in Doom Tower content. 4 buffs from plus 2 others that are coming in from anybody else, like Lydia is bringing 2, or somebody else can bring 2 more, and who can take down any amount of HP from any enemy waves with Seer build. So that's how Mausoleum Mage is used in the early game, using anywhere to tag along with his triple speed set, or with his triple any other set that will make him go fast and add a lot of HP on him. That's how he's usually used in the early game. But in the end game, a lot of people use Mausoleum Mage for the purpose of just putting buffs on Seer. That's the only thing I wanted to showcase on this champion's build. He's still viable in 2023 as a champion who is best known for helping Seer do huge damage. But if you don't own a Seer, he can still help you in maybe faction wars, because you probably have somebody else doing a cleanse. Now for the end game, before I switched out his gear, there was one content I forgot to mention for those who are still trying to beat it. Mausoleum Mage is one of those champions that makes it possible for you to get through. Let me try it on the normal spider so it doesn't take me too long to get it done. This Nether Spider, right, is one of the champions that is best known to come in here and do a cleanse. Now I'm using a nuke team right here, which is probably okay for this level of normal, but for hard level of that spider, who did I use to take it down? Let me check the hard level, because if you don't take it down, see, oh, I still didn't do a cleanse. I went with this champion, but normally you need a cleanser right here. Maybe in place of this champion, I'll put in Mausoleum Mage to cleanse all that poison that those spiderlings are gonna do to me. So you can bring him right here to do a cleanse, because no matter even if you have a Brogni placing block debuff buff, you will still get those spiderlings, because they place these poisons on you at the start of the turn before you have any buff on you. So you can just go in there and do a cleanse. So I have a dedicated video showing the Nether Spider where Mausoleum Mage and some other champion who does the cleanse was a face Reliquary Tender are the 2 cleansers I use, plus maybe Doom Priest. So he's one of those few champions that can help you take care of this Nether Spider boss. I'll not run it, but you know what I mean. Get all the poisons, wait till it's time for him to use his turn, he just cleanses it. 4 turns again, he can do the same thing. So you can always be free of poisons in this Nether Spider if you're taking that strategy to kill the boss. All right, let me end it right here. Let me know what you think about this Mausoleum Mage champion showcase and guide. Hopefully newer players will benefit from it, and end game players can also see how you can still use him in content in the end game, just for those Seer comms or as a cleanser for Nether Spider. If you don't use a Duchess, or you don't use a Python or somebody else, or a Mitrala to do a cleansing, they've overtaken me in the end game, but it still has some use in Seer comms. All right, help me hit like in this champion guide. Let's hype up Mausoleum Mage. He's still viable in 2023. Thank God he's not relegated only to faction wars like most champions usually do. He's still very, very viable. If you just got him taken to 60, spend those books on him. He does benefit from it. He's totally worth it. I'll see you guys in the next one. You can comment which champion you want me to highlight next or talk about in the next video. Later, guys.